Hi, I'm Grant Cooper from the Gladstone Ports Corporation 75th Brisbane to Gladstone Yacht Race commentary team. Along with my fellow commentators, Sailor Girl Nick Douglas and Jordan Spencer, over the next few weeks we're going to get to know some of the sailors sailing in this anniversary race, their yachts and their backstories. Welcome to Brisbane to Gladstone Yacht Race before the start. I was at Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron recently and I mentioned to a few of the lads there that I was going to be talking with Charles from Night Nurse, and no one knew who the hell I was talking about until someone said, "Oh, you mean Rusty." So Rusty McCart, owner of Night Nurse, welcome to B2G before the start.
Thanks, Grant. Yeah.
Rusty, I could probably hazard a guess, but how did that name come about?
Mate, my name is actually Charles Russell. My mother called me Charles in the mistaken belief that one day I might be up for a knighthood, and that sounded better, Sir Charles. Anyway, Rusty, I can't tell you how, but it was just a long time ago, just a derivation of Russell.
Your first B2G, you was 18 years old, 1976, probably giving away your age a little bit there, but you got to get a ride on a B2G yacht. You told me at that stage you have to work hard and sail well. What do you remember about that first race north?
It was hard to get on a boat. Like, it was, lots of people wanted to get on a boat to do a race like the Gladstone, and it wasn't easy. Lots of guys missed out. So I was quite lucky that I got a ride on Sequana with Maurice Tilley, who was a legend, done a lot of Hobarts on Sequana and done a lot of Gladstones and things. And I was sort of mid-bow, and I remember waking up on the second morning and we were probably off Busted Head. It's blowing about 30 knots. We're in a reasonable sea, and I'd never been out of sight of land. We're out of sight of land, and I thought, gee, this is pretty good. This is pretty exciting. So that's about my only memory of it, except there's a lot of sail changes. We worked pretty hard, but
many may know, and I'm suggesting that quite a few may not know, that you actually founded a charity called Mates for Mates, and it's a sailing program that helps soldiers transition back into civilian life. Now, tell us about these times.
I was helping various army mates who had adventure businesses. We were taking groups across Kokoda Track. I was leading some groups, which I've done a lot. I've done that Kokoda Track plenty of times. And then in about, so mixing up civilians and army guys and helping get army guys particularly who were wounded and getting out, helping them reintegrate into the world and maybe getting them jobs. And we got a lot of guys jobs. But it was a lot of work. It was all voluntary. And then in about 2010, Brian Freeman, who was the leader of it, and I negotiated a deal with the RSL where they took it over. We renamed it Mates for Mates from Adventure 35, and they funded it and grew it to a different level. And I ran the yachting program. I bought a Volvo 60, the old Deduced Dragon, one of the older Deduced Dragons, and we ran for 3 years, yachting up and down the coast, racing and deliveries and all those things. And then the best guys from each year we'd take on the Sydney Hobart. So that was it's been a almost 30-year relationship for me with those veterans. And even this year I've got 5 commandos, 5 Special Forces commandos on Night Nurse, really tough and true blue people. So it's great to sail with them.
Night Nurse, tell us about your boat. It's a Far 40?
It's a Far 40, one design. It's a lovely boat to sail. I named it after a reggae song, which when I was racing down the West Indies as a boat nanny years ago, I think we had 3 cassettes on the boat, one 4-month tour, and one of them had this Gregory Isaac song, Night Nurse. It's imprinted on my head. So I said, one day I'll call a boat Night Nurse. That's how that came around.
You're not quite sure how many Brisbane to Gladstones you've competed in. Now, that to me is a little bit strange because, I think after a while, us sailors, we start counting them. It becomes more about the number of races we do than the actual race themselves. But it seems that to me that it's more about the experience for you of each race.
I like the race. I like to sail with my mates. We could stack it up with a lot of hot shots, and so it is about getting out of the house at Easter on Good Friday, getting out of going to church, and well, actually, I never went to church, even if I wasn't doing a Gladstone, but I enjoy it. I love being at sea, and I love being with my mates at sea. So that's what it is, really. But I know it is around 40. It might be 38, 39. It might be 42. But I did give up counting.
In 40 races or so, do you have a single fondest memory of any particular race?
There was the year that we won the race and set a world record on bobsled. And I remember we were coming across the paddock. We dug somebody who was ever on the helm dug the spinnaker pole and bent it in two. We're probably doing about 28, 29 knots. The boat just about flipped over, went sideways, went underwater, people in the drink, big sea running. And anyway, we picked it all up and kept going. But at that point, we had what was in the fastest passage race in the world. Later that year, a Volvo boat beat it in the Southern Ocean to 400 miles in 24 hours. But for a little while, we had a world record there. So that was probably memorable.
Listen, Rusty, have yourself a great race. Thanks for joining us before the start.
Good on you. Thanks, Grant.